It's the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame with your 2024 inductees: Billy Moore, Blackstone Cherry, Bobby Mackey, Charlie Sizemore, Gary Stewart, Jimmy Mattingly, the McLain Family Band, Paul Martin, Rodney Griffen, Ruble Sanderson, and Sturgill Simpson. With performances by Rockland Road, T.D. Young, the Donovan Howard Blues Trio, Blackstone Cherry, Bobby Mackey, Dean Dillon, Jimmy Mattingly, Steve and Terry Warner, the McLain Family Band, Paul Martin, and Rodney Griffen, along with Greater Vision. The 2024 Kentucky Music Hall of Fame ceremony begins now.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Blankenship. I'm the Executive Director of the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame and Mount Vernon Rockcastle County Tourism, and I want to welcome you to the Music City capital of Kentucky, Rockcastle County. I want you all to sit back, relax. We're going to have a good evening of music and love and fellowship in here, and I appreciate each and every one of you all here. You are definitely a true fan of music, and especially Kentucky music. And to have so many people out here is just amazing. Let's get this party started first off, and I want to welcome Rockland Road to perform the national anthem.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets burning there, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
So let's give it up for Rockland Road. What a job. My name is Neil Sluter. I'm the chairman of the board of directors of the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. My friend Jessica Blankenship beside me is a director of the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. The Music Hall of Fame opened its doors 22 years ago that so everyone could celebrate the history and significance of our rich musical heritage. It hasn't always been an easy road, though, and just a few years back, the Hall of Fame went bankrupt. And it took a special group of people to bring it back to life, bring it where it is today, get it solvent, and get the events and things going on that we see here today. And I want to really recognize those folks tonight. That's the board of directors. And board, if you would please stand when I call your name and remain standing. Shannon Bishop. Chief Boone. Karl Oftis is not with us tonight. He can go before the event tonight, and so is our director, Carrie Mullins. Glenda Smith. Good thing. That's our brownie cookie. And Lynn Taylor. He used to work for a fellow named Joe Spaulding at a retail company, and Joe always said, surround yourself with stars, you'll be a star. Surround yourself with turkeys, and you'll be a... And he made the obvious say turbans, so tried to. I'm lucky to be surrounded by stars. I thank you guys so much for what you do. You have really elevated the Hall of Fame, so thank you.
This year, we're going to be introducing 12 new members as we will have over 70 inductees in our 22-year history. And I tell you what, we have folks from Mayfield, Kentucky, to Prestonsburg, Kentucky, all the way up to Wilder, Kentucky, all the way down to Harlan County and all points in between. But I tell you one thing, you cannot go anywhere in the world without hearing such songs such as Blue Moon of Kentucky, Coal Miner's Daughter, You'll Never Leave Harlan Alive. So many songs in our history brings ties back to Kentucky. Needless to say, amen. And I tell you what, there's a few people I want to personally thank, and is my staff. You have seen them working behind the scenes. Watch me sweat a little bit today, but needless to say, without them, this would not be possible. So I want to give a big congratulations and a thank you to Kathy Brown, Ann Chaffins, Allison Cuff, and Chelsea Roberts.
Thank you for being part of this significant night where history comes to you, as we have 12 new members to welcome into our family, including, in no special order, Blackstone Cherry, local fellow Rodney Griffen, Mackey, our band leader for many years, Mr. Paul Martin. Jimmy Mattingly. The McLain family band. Billy Moore. Mr. Ruble Sanderson. Sturgill Simpson. Charlie Sizemore. Karl Shannon. And Mr. Gary Stewart.
This whole event would not be possible with so many friends and sponsors that have helped donate their time, their money, their talent, just a whole slew of things. And I want to thank Mount Vernon Rockcastle County Tourism Commission, the City of Mount Vernon, the stage, Legends Corner, Second Fiddle and Broadway in Nashville, here in Nashville. Y'all better get down there. Tell Ruble I seen you. Rockcastle Regional Hospital, Park Funeral Home, Rockcastle County Fiscal Court, Lone Star Farm and Home, Frizzell Guitars, 88 Music Store, Southern Roots Hair Salon, Master Musicians Festival, Kentucky. One more call before you dig, y'all. Community Trust Bank, Dwayne and Julie Harris, PB&K Bank, Great Spirits, Goins Painting, Hamburger Law, Studio London, Chicks and Hits, Women's Groove, Clark and Balser, Moonshiners Ball here in Newcastle County, Long Rock Cove Music Festival. I think the oldest rock and roll festival here. Manchester Music Festival, Rockcastle Arts Association, and 3-Chord Bourbon, who ended up doing a urban signing with Blackstone Cherry. 190 South Profit Street to the Hall of Fame. And I would also say tonight we have 5 individuals that we want to honor the memory. They passed away since our 2022 induction ceremony. Excuse me. Dorley Allen, who is our 2022 inductee, one of the kindest people you would ever meet. Rita Floyd, she was a friend of the Hall of Fame, and to many of you in this room, Exile, I could go on and on how many people she has photographed and been a friend to. Les McCain, another one of our inductees. Bobby Osborne.
And our fellow board member, Joe Clocks.
We are extremely honored tonight in honor of Norley Allen. We're going to welcome back to the stage her daughter Jamie, as well as her kids and son-in-law, to perform a special song, His Height is on the Sparrow.
Why should I feel discouraged? Why should the shadows come? Why must my heart feel lonely and long for heaven and home when Jesus is my portion? A constant friend is He. His eyes on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. His eyes on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. And I sing because I'm happy, and I sing because I'm free. Oh, His eyes on the sparrow, and I know He watches over me. And I sing because I am happy, and I sing because I am free. His eyes on the sparrow, and I know He watches me. His eyes on the sparrow, and I know He watches me.
I think next, a few of our inductees' special friends have a few words they'd like to pass along to us. So if you'll watch the video on each side of the stage, guys, I've been invited to Ransdell for stand.
Hey Sturgill, it's Dwight. I wanted to say congratulations. I wanted to help induct you into the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame tonight, and I wanted to be there and help do it in person, but as you can see, I'm somewhere else. I wasn't able to make it, but I hope you're as honored as all of your fellow Kentuckians are that are in the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame to have you join us in the Hall of Fame. And again, congratulations to you, Sturgill. It's a much deserved honor for you. And I'm very proud to have known you and to know you and to have worked with you over the years and to call you a friend. All right, buddy. Congratulations.
The greatest honor that can be given to any musician that comes from Kentucky is to be inducted into the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. Wow. Paul, you can play any instrument, sing any part, sit you down at a control board. You can do all the engineer work. Paul, I don't think you realize how good you really are. I'm so proud you married my daughter and gave me 4 wonderful grandkids. I wish I could be there with you. This is your night. Have fun.
Good evening, Sturgill, and big congrats on your induction into the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. Tonight you join my friends Dwight Yoakam and Wariner Judd, but you're also joining Loretta Lynn, Merle Travis, Bill Monroe, and other luminaries in its storied past. Well, okay, I won't take up any more of your time. You doubtless have more to do tonight and way more to do in the years to come. Just stay at it, my friend. This world needs you.
Congratulations, Sturgill Simpson, for being inducted into the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. They're very lucky to have you.
Hey Sturgill, it's Chris Stapleton. I just want to congratulate you on being inducted into the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. Well deserved.
Heard the song for you, Sturgill.
Rise to the hall, now stars begin to frame. Echoes of his voice forever in the flame. The crowds that sing his praises, etching out his name. Sturgill in the hall, now found his claim.
Hall of Fame, Sturgill.
I made it to the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame.
You, Blackstone Cherry, is the first hard rock band.
Oh, it's all because of you guys, man. Thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Congratulations to my friends, the McLain family. I love you all so very much. So many fond memories growing up with the Sally Mountain Show and the McLain family, your festival. And so congratulations to you. You are so deserving. I love your family very, very much. Congratulations on your induction into the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. Love you.
Hi, everybody. Congratulations to all my Kentucky brothers and sisters going into the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame tonight. What a great honor. It was an honor for me many years ago, and it still is. We got to keep writing and singing and playing good Kentucky music. The world needs to hear it. Not so sure about Paul Martin, though. Congratulations, everybody. I love you, Paul.
Tonight, you're honoring Gary Stewart. Really, one of the great stylists of our generation. And not only was Gary a great singer, I loved his voice. Great writer, got to write some songs with him too. But he was just, on a more personal level, he was one of my best friends. And I truly treasure the time that we got to spend together. And of course, I knew his wife, Lou, and his daughter, Shannon. I love you, Shannon. And I know you're there tonight. And I wish I could be there with you, if I could have one wish. But thank you for honoring my friend. And I think you did a great job, because there's not enough honors for him. Thank you very much. I love you, Gary.
Apostle Paul, morning, dear. Hey, pal, I hear they inducted you into Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. Perfect. Let me think about that for a second. Paul Martin, Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. Has a nice ring to it. Congratulations. And well deserved. Not only are you one of the finest people that ever walked the earth, you're also one of God's most talented men. Thank you for everything that you've ever played and sang and arranged and recorded and produced for me and all the superlatives. We love you. You're our brother forever. And what's next? Governor? Paul Martin? All right.
Hey everybody, it's John Rich here. I'm so honored to have been asked to make this video and give a shout out to a guy that I have so much respect for in this business of country music, the one and only Mr. Ruble Sanderson. Ruble, we all owe you a debt of gratitude in Nashville, and I know in Kentucky as well, for giving us stages to sing on. Ruble, you've allowed me to come into your places when I was popular and when I wasn't so popular. You always said, John, you can sing here anytime you want, and I sang there a lot. I consider you to be one of the greats, one of the giants in country music. You've done so much for so many artists throughout the years. People will never understand the impact that you've actually had, but it sounds like the good folks of Kentucky know exactly how much impact you have had, and that's why you're receiving this honor. The Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. Well deserved, sir. It's an honor to be your friend. God bless you, and God bless America.
Hey, Dirk Bentley here, and I just want to congratulate my buddy Ruble on being inducted Hall of Fame. So cool. Very, very warranted. What a huge impact you've had on certainly here in Nashville, Tennessee, that's for sure. I'm here in the pickup lane to get my kids from school. It's a long ways from where I started down on Lower Broadway back in the day. And, there's a few places down there to play back then, way before Nashville is what it is now. And one of those places was Legends, and one of them was the stage. And I believe I was the first artist to get hired by Ruble to play the stage, and also the first artist to get fired by Ruble playing the stage. When I first started off, I did not have an electric guitar player in the band. I did not have an electric bass player. We were doing more of kind of a hybrid of country and bluegrass, a la Keith Whitley in the early days. And I wasn't competing with the kid next door at Tootsie's playing all the Skinnerd stuff, so he had to let me go. But he was the right move to make, and we've been good friends ever since. And the impact you've had on Nashville, Tennessee, on Lower Broadway, on country music in general. I mean, how many kids have come to town and dreamt of making it big and start off and playing those stages, and still are today. Right now, there's someone down there. They're not in the carpool line at their school. They're down there right now working on their craft, honing their skills, and making a lot of people happy down there. So just thank you for all you've done for this community, all you've done for country music in general, and congratulations on being inducted into the
Jimmy Mattingly, Trisha Yearwood here. Congratulations on going into the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. My favorite thing about you is that when I watch you on stage, whether you're performing with me or when I watch you from the side performing with Garth, even at sound check, backstage, you always have a smile on your face. I love the joy you take in what you do. Congratulations.
Jimmy Mattingly, Garth Brooks here, man. Congratulations on going to the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. I love you to pieces. I think they're very lucky to get you. So let me just start this over the way it should. To the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame, congratulations on getting Jimmy Mattingly. Traveled with this guy my whole life. I can't even imagine taking a stage without him. He's not only a great entertainer and a great player, he also might be one of the sweetest souls I've ever met. I am happy for you. I'm happy for both of you. What a great marriage. A great player and a state that knows great players. I love you guys. Enjoy your night.
All right, on behalf of all Green Berets, thanks, Sturgill. Woo!
We got friends in high places, let me tell y'all. I got challenged by the board, go big or go home, and we doubled our size of our class tonight. And I ended up, some of y'all didn't even know I even got those videos. So there's actually more videos. All these and plus video of the ceremony will be available here in a couple of weeks. So never fear, for the inductees, you'll get to rewatch your videos as well. So, all right, let's get this party kicking off. First off, Donovan Howard Trio has been our 2024 Artist in Residence here at the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. The board of directors picks one act each year to represent us across the state. And let me tell you, just recently, he and the trio won Kentucky State of the Best Blues Act. And they're getting ready to go to Memphis, Tennessee to compete internationally in January. And let me tell you, this is the most humbling man, that anytime we have tour groups that come and join us, it doesn't matter if they have intellectual disabilities, if they're older adults, if they are children, he reaches and touches their hearts. That is why he is our Kentucky Artist in Residence. And without further ado, Donovan Howard Trio.
Sometimes it helps if they have you much for the skill. It was a joke. Come on now. Bear with me. Oh, yeah. Welcome to the 2024 Kentucky Music Hall of Fame induction. Once I had me home, good as you ever seen. Well, I did my best to treat her like a queen. You know, she said she loved me, wanna do me right. Well, I got always something to do on her. Tell me, what am I gonna do? I got to this East Kentucky single wide trail of blue. Well, I'm gonna see. Better think about word. Well, the big boss man, he's acting like a jerk. Said if I'm sure you're gonna let me go, I'm a little child without this one, you know. I'm in love. Tell me, what am I gonna do? I got to the East Kentucky single wide trail of blue.
Don but Howard, guys, good job. Right. You're not all country. Everybody, you're fixing to have another treat. A few years ago, I got to meet a gentleman named T.D. Young. If you've never heard of T.D. Young, he's out of Lexington, Kentucky, and he is phenomenal. He's fixing to take you to church right now. T.D. Young, you back there?
Thank you so much.
Great job. I told you he'd be worth the wait. Out to introduce our next inductee, Mr. Billy Moore from Paint Lick, Kentucky, who your sound engineer who's worked with Exile, Trace Atkins, and Eric Church, are some guys from a band who many of you are going to know from, well, at least if you're my age or younger, you're going to know them because they've done a lot of the soundtrack of our lives, and that's the fellas from Exile. So welcome to the stage.
Keep counting me up. Hey!
Hey y'all, how you doing? We are Exile, the members of Exile band, and we're here to honor and induct our good friend, longtime friend, Billy Moore, into the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. Billy started with us in 1978 when we started out on the road. Our first big hit, Billy, Jeff, Bobby, everybody back then, but we became family. And Billy was with us until 1992. And he started just working, he was an LD, lighting director, the first in our band. And we became family, all of us. And we're still family, because once you're part of this organization, you're always a part of the organization, part of the family. Billy, after he left us, he went on to work with Trace Atkins, did an amazing job with Trace, Montgomery Gentry, and then of course Eric Church. They finished his career really working with Eric Church. And while working with Eric, and I think it was in 2022, he won a very prestigious CMA Touring Award as Front of House Engineer of the Year in 2022. And, you know, people, think about it. when we started out, of course, rock music, a rock band, we were a little wild and everything, all of us on one bus, touring all over the country. But really, we would come off the stage that night, we'd have warm milk and cookies, that's all we did. Yeah. And popcorn. And popcorn. But we are so honored to bring Billy into this prestigious organization in the company, and we're very, very proud of him. Ladies and gentlemen, Billy Moore.
Oh gosh, this is something that I never thought would even come true. I'm blessed. The Lord has blessed me, kept good people around me, and these guys here is what done it all for me. Once I started working with them, I didn't want to leave, but you know how life is. You gotta sometimes go out. It's been a good run for me, and I retired year before last, and I want to come home, be a husband, father, and a fat ball, and that's pretty much me, but I've been fortunate to work. Sometimes you got to do it from the heart and do what your heart's telling you. And I've been, like I said, I've been so privileged to work with some of the people, the artists that I've worked with, but when it comes to home, there's nothing like Kentucky and my boys. It don't mean as much coming, take this the right way, from Nashville when I won the little touring award and stuff, but just being a part of Kentucky and knowing I've got these guys in my corner and I'm in their corner, and the people from Kentucky, it don't get no better. Thank you, Lord.
I need to thank my family. I'm gonna get more about the vibe. Thank you, I love you.
Pardon, I forgot it was my turn. Thanks, Neil. Let's give it one more round of applause for Billy Moore. Just a year ago, Billy was our very first surprise. Kind of give you all a little bit of a process of the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame, how anybody is inducted, is that anyone can nominate. It doesn't matter if it's you or you or you, if you're a fellow inductee, anybody can nominate somebody. In fact, for this year's class, we had 132 nomination letters of different inductees, and it took the board over a year to pick the cream of the crop, I have to tell you all. And I think we definitely did a good job as well. And it took over a year, and then our very first surprise was actually with Billy Moore. Trace Atkins, we made the decision on Wednesday. That Saturday, Trace Atkins was on stage here, and he said, I'll handle it. And Trace says he's going to handle it. He handles it. In fact, he went off the stage, went out into the audience and surprised Billy Boy, as he called him. So needless to say, he was just phenomenal. And with each inductee, you all are kind of like my own personal family, and thank you, and being able to do the surprises. This very next group of folks is it's all in the family. In 2013, the Kentucky Headhunters became members of the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. Now, just 11 years later, Blackstone Cherry is being inducted into the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. One of the coolest moments is being able to be in their hometown concert in Glasgow, Kentucky. My aunt and uncle, Wilma and Stewart Gilbert, lived over in Knob Lake, Kentucky, so I can tell you all plenty of stories of them boys growing up. Needless to say, also having Fred Young to call my house and ask my dad about John Deere tractor parts is pretty cool, growing up. But needless to say, I will tell you all this one thing. The Kentucky Headhunters, as well as Blackstone Cherry, are as humble as you can be. And the fact that they do give back in their community, and they are very well loved across Kentucky But in fact, tomorrow it's across the world because they are flying to go overseas to perform for Spans. So internationally well known. China falls to white. And I will tell you one thing I mentioned earlier about the 3-chord bourbon. The guys ended up doing a bourbon bottle signing earlier today. 100% of the proceeds went back to the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame, and I'm just forever in debt for them guys for their investments. Without further ado, I'm going to have a couple of guys from the Kentucky Headhunters come out here and give you a few remarks about some of Edmonton, Kentucky's very own Blackstone Cherry.
Believe me, this is spur of the moment. My name is Danny Wells. I'm from Glasgow, Kentucky. My son is in Blackstone Cherry. His name is Ben. The rest of these guys are from next door, Edmonton, Kentucky. We're all buddies, we're all friends. I'm big friends with the Headhunters. Richard, he has been with the Headhunters for 40, 50 years. His son plays drums for Blackstone Cherry. Everybody makes her head. Graham plays drums for the Headhunters.
Well, I watched these little kids come up to the practice house where we grew up playing music when we were kids. And I saw right off that these kids, their hearts was in it, and they were going to do something. I don't know what, but they was going to do something more than just have a good time on weekends there. And every night after school, as soon as they got out of school, they came up to the practice house and they worked till 10 o'clock. And they go down to my parents' house. Mama had something good for them to eat, and they what can you say? They did whatever they're supposed to do, and they love it, and that's why they do it. And we're Kentucky people. We're a little bit different from the regular country folks that play country music. We're our country people though, and we'll talk like it, and we'll walk like it. And well, I love these kids, these Blackstone Cherry boys. They're like my own kids, and I love them to death, and I'm so proud for them to be doing this. Thank y'all for allowing me to be in here.
Well, boy, did I pull a good one. I didn't know that we were going to speak. Did y'all? No. But anyway, I'm so glad. It's very honoring that you asked us to speak. And I want to just say a couple of things, but I want to mention that Chris Robinson, Dad, Stephen, passed away. And if he were here, he'd be so proud. You know, we all loved each other. Steve and I went to school together, and Chris and John Fred met each other sharing crayons in the first grade or kindergarten. And so they came to me, it must have been 2001 or something. They said, Dad, we want to move in the practice house and we're going to start a band. We have an old farmhouse. And I said, well, hell, they'll burn it down. So, but anyway, they started rehearsing, y'all, and I'm telling you, they had the greatest perseverance and desire to do what they planned on doing. And I had an office in there, and I'd sit and listen to them, and I'd say, man, they're for real. So I wound up getting with them and helping them write a few songs, that sort of thing, and was able to help get them a record deal in New York. We sent them to Europe, and they just, it was like you poured gasoline on the floor, and they just exploded. But anyway, enough said. I know they would love to play it electrically, but we'd probably blown the fuses in this place. So they're just going to do a little acoustic, I think, performance for you. But God bless all you people for coming out. And thanks for the folks that came out last night to see the Headhunters. It was such a good show. It's been like some very fun. God bless y'all. Let's keep the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame alive.
on Sizemore Fame, there's a lot of musicians out there that can put a whooping on the Headhunters or any of us. But we grew up opening for Exile when we were young, and they're still one of our favorites. And they'll always have great music. Every band they ever had, their song played, they put a heart on you if you open for them. And I love them guys. I love all you Kentucky fellas out there, musicians.
We should say something real quick. We should say something. So, when we first started our little band, Itchy Brothers, nobody would let us come and play much, and Jimmy Pennington and Jimmy Stokely would call us, and they'd let us come to Club 68, and they gave us $150 as a free dinner, and that was some of the best education I ever had in my life.
Well, this is something else, I'll say that. Hey,
Which side you used to?
hell yeah, let's so violent, come on now. It would not be even something we don't have a whole lot of time to talk, so I'm only going to read 2 chapters from the Bible tonight. No, seriously, thank you guys so much. There's a lot of cherry heads, our fans that are here tonight. A lot of people from overseas, all over the country that came to be here. When we started this band, it was never if, it was always when. It was never a pastime or a hobby. It was our lifeline. It was our blood. And here we are, 23 some odd years later, and we still love each other. We still love making music. We get on a plane tomorrow, actually. We fly to Europe for another tour to end the year out. And we want to be nowhere else than right here, right now. So thank you guys very, very much. And being from a small town in Kentucky, a lot of people might have thought we had a lot of things going against us. We were from a dry county. We would play Mexican restaurants and churches and things we weren't even allowed to be in. The one thing we had for us all along was the love and support of Jesus and our families who are sitting right over here from day one. Thank you very much.
I just want to take my hat off and say, hey, oh man, this is pretty badass, if you know what I'm saying. Come on.
Thank you guys again so much for being here tonight. Out of all the places that we get to travel and go to, all of us up here can say there's no place like our old Kentucky home. We're so happy to be here. Thank you guys.
I can't top that. I should have went third. Hey, we love every single person here. Thank you all. I know, like Ben said, we have had a ton of people. How are y'all short? A ton of people fly in to this. We got some people from Wales, some great friends from Wales. Yeah. It is an amazing honor for us. We love Kentucky. We love what we do. God bless y'all. Thank you so much for having us here. We love all our families.
Again, the creek is where y'all song. If you would just kill this vocal this way, it'd be so awesome.
I'm good, but... Oh, man. Fellas, y'all ready?
Give us out a bit.
John Ferris not ready to imagine that. We had to wait on him to unveil the case to...
Look here. All right. We wrote this song about our home state.
You're right, correct. We were sitting, true story about this song real quick. We were working on our 3rd record in 2010, and we were out in California writing a bunch of songs, and we wrote this song. We were tired as could be of going to California to write songs. We were like, why the hell can't we just write them in Kentucky where we're from? And sometimes you got to get away from where you're from to realize how much you appreciate it. So that's exactly what this song's about. Go guys. We are Blackstone Charity. This song's called Like I Wrote.
so much.
Wow, what a great job those guys did. Congratulations. Our next inductee, Mr. Bobby Mackey, is from Wildlife, Kentucky. That's good for all of them. He's a honky-tonk owner. He released hit songs such as Pepsi Man and Hero Daddy. And you're going to really like who's here to induct him. And I'm sure you've probably eaten at one of his restaurants before. Mr. Jeff Ruble.
Hey, Betty, how are you? Van Well made this for me in Nashville, but I didn't wear the Tennessee jacket today. I didn't wear that. In fact, I don't have a Tennessee jacket. I'm delighted to be here. I'm honored to be here. I want to talk about a man who's a terrific talent, terrific singer, great vocalist, great person. Played for me at my Lexington place. But I'm not here to talk about T.D. Young. I'm here to introduce Bobby Mackey. So that's what I'm doing. So Bobby started in the nightclub business about the time I started in the nightclub business in Cincinnati, northern Kentucky. In fact, we were born 3 weeks apart. I was born in New Jersey, he was born in Kentucky, but we got to become friends when I came to Greater Cincinnati. And so being from New Jersey, I wasn't into country music. They didn't have any country music. I was into R&B and, Motown and soul. But Johnny Benz took me to Bobby Mackey's place, Wilder, Kentucky. Just the name scared me. We're going to Wilder, Kentucky. And it was there was nothing around, nothing. And we went to see George Jones play. So that my first introduction was to see George Jones. But George Jones was too drunk to really be any good. But I was too drunk to know that he was too drunk. I thought he was terrific. I thought the guy was terrific. So then the thing about Bobby, there's another Hall of Fame that he should be in. And he started singing when he was 4 years old, Hank Williams stuff, and playing guitar when he was 8 years old. Bobby, he's tremendous talent. But he's also belongs in the nightclub and bar Hall of Fame. I'm in that Hall of Fame. I've had like 20 clubs over the years. And together, collectively, they didn't last as long as his one place did. That's how long that's something, to have a bar last that time. You open up a discotheque, or you open up a nightclub, or you open up something where it serves its purpose, it runs its course. And Bobby Mackey's has been there over 40 years, and now he's moved temporarily to another place, and he's going to rebuild the original one. But to do that, mine were in Holiday Inns, and then when I opened my own place, they were in my place in Lexington, Louisville, Cincinnati, Columbus, and Nashville. Bobby that was the worst location you could have. You couldn't find it. There was nothing around it. It was dark out there. And the name, I'd never been to a Wilder club in that place. That was a great name for it. And then there's ghosts, and it's haunted, and there's a bat, and there was a murder there. And As a matter of fact, in one of the movies about that whole mafia thing and the murders that were, I played the murderer. I played the actual one of the murderers, or the murderer. And it was on location at Bobby and Mackey's, and it was also, part of it was shot at the precinct, my place in Cincinnati. So I've been, I just can't imagine somebody lasting and still in business, in the bar business, and lasting over 40 years and not being in the Nightclub and Bar Hall of Fame, because he deserves it more than I do. So I'm gonna see if I can handle that. And I just want to tell you, I have had the opportunity at my places to sing on stage with Garth Brooks, Kix Brooks, Travis Tritt, Lee Greenwood, Kool and the Gang, Kid Rock, and my dear late friend Toby Keith. But I have nothing has ever meant as much to me as when Bobby Mackey asked me to join him on stage at his place. And he's a great man, a great friend, and when he let me get on stage with him and sing, because I'm just an average singer, and that wasn't with the karaoke, that was with his band, you know? And he's a great person, and I just want to tell you, that meant more to me than anything, and I am happy to introduce, in Northern Kentucky, Greater Cincinnati, he's an icon, he's a legend. You know, there's a Chris Christopherson song, me and Bobby McGee. Well, there's me and Bobby Mackey, and I want to introduce Bobby Mackey.
All right. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Jeff Ruby. And what about Kentucky? Don't we love Kentucky, y'all? The mayor of Vanceburg, Kentucky. I come from Lewis County, Kentucky, near Vanceburg, a little town called Concord. And the mayor of Vanceburg is here tonight. What an honor to have him come here be with us tonight. Thank you, Chip. Thanks to Jessica Blankenship and all the folks here at the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame for this great honor. I want to say thanks to my wonderful daughters, Anita and Chanda, and all my family. I'm so proud of every one of them. My beautiful wife, Denise, who does all the hard work running the nightclub and gives me the opportunity to just do my music. And you know what? If I could teach her to sing, I wouldn't have to do nothing. And several members of her family are here tonight. Thanks to Mayor Valerie Jones, we've got another mayor here from Wilder, Kentucky, where I've played music for 46 years. Beautiful little town, Wilder, Kentucky. And Wilder's been so great to me and Bobby Mackey's nightclub for 46 years. So Valerie Jones at the top, right here with me. And my great friend, radio DJ friend, H.D. Ainsworth from down in Louisiana, KBBF Radio. Thank you, Chip. And last but not least, thank you to the best promotion man on the planet, RJC. It's always been about the music for me. It's been a great ride, and I'm going to keep it country, y'all. Thank you very much.
Welcome to the Hall of Fame, Mr. Mackey, well deserved. Our next inductee, Mr. Ruble Sanderson. You guys ever met somebody that's just like got it? They just got that it factor. That's Ruble Sanderson. He's been successful in so many different ways down in Nashville. He's from Mayfield, Kentucky. Mayfield. Home of Paul Yandel, that's right, one of our 2022 inductees. He's the owner of Legends Corner, The Stage, Second Fill on Broadway down in Nashville. Really interesting story. I was blessed to get to meet he and Miss Sanderson back, in June, May or June, sometime back in. And just made immediate friends with them. Super, super nice people. So we're going to bring Brenda out here in just a minute to say some nice words about Ruble. He paid her to do that, but she'll come out here in just a minute. But I want to have Jessica talk to you about something that we've cooked up here for her.
I tell you what, getting to know Brenda and Ruble Sanderson has just been an absolute blessing, and getting to hear their story of basically cleaning up Broadway when the Grand Ole Opry moved from the Ryman Auditorium over to Opryland. Ruble took an initiative and then purchased a couple of bars, and then it's growing. And as you all know, there's everything from the Woo Girls to the Yeehaws to the Pedal Taverns and the Scooters and all that, and then some. But the best music can be found at his venues. I can vouch for that, y'all. But I'll tell you what, it's just phenomenal the work that they do. And because of them, they did donate some money to the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame so that we can establish the Sanderson Music Fund. Yes. With this fund, you're going to be provided not only here in Newcastle County, but throughout the state of Kentucky, from Mayfield to Prestonsburg, from Wilder all the way down to Williamsburg, all what's in between for our musicians, whether they need financial aid, if they need a prime example for Donovan Howard Trio, but we're actually donating a portion of the proceeds to help pay for their way to go to Memphis because they are representing us. And I was saying, we're also continuing our music business education classes, songwriting classes, and so much more. I'm going to shut up, but I'm going to let Brenda tell you about the man that she knows as both a husband and a wife, a husband and her own. Y'all, part of it.
Where were they?
They literally have been getting what they pay for, and But anyway, without further ado, Ms. Brenda Sanderson.
Thank you, Jessica. Thanks, Neon. And thanks for the opportunity to allow me for just a few minutes to tell you a little bit about my husband of 51 years, Ruble Sears. Wow, I get an applause for 51 years? I never had Ruble. I'm going to tell you a little bit about where Ruble came from. Ruble Sanderson was born on the 5th of January, 1936, near Mayfield in Graves County, Kentucky. Ruble's parents were Elsie Mayno, who died when Ruble was about 2 years old, and Jodan Sanderson, who was deaf. Until he was about 11 years old, Ruble and his father lived in a 2-room house on the dead-end lane a few miles from Mayfield. Ruble rode an old bicycle he had made from spare parts through the country roads selling red newspapers. And in the summer, he would sell garden seed. They may be poor, but as Ruble says, he didn't think about it, and he would not trade his early childhood for anything, because it is a part of who he is and what made him. In 1947, when Ruble was 11 years old, his older sister Annie and her husband moved to Detroit, leaving Ruble and his father to live in their house near Lowe's in Grace County. Annie and her husband had left an old battery radio at the house, and Ruble would stay up to midnight and after listening to the Ransdell Library and other country music broadcasts. Who knew that in a few short decades, he would be owning and operating his own music venues just a few steps from the Ryman Auditorium. He went to Lowe's High School, but left between the 11th and 12th grades. He moved to Paducah and started working for a gentleman named Will Austin, who owned and operated Basin News Company. Basin News was a wholesale distributor of magazines and paperback books. Ruble worked for him for 28 years, managing various distribution agencies in Kentucky, Tennessee, and Missouri. The last 17 years, he was managing a business for Mr. Austin in Shelbyville, Tennessee. When Mr. Austin died, Ruble moved our family to Kingsport, Tennessee, to manage a similar business. In 1982, he left that firm to start his own business of placing video games in supermarkets, convenience stores, and truck stops. That was during the Pac-Man Donkey Kong craze. By 1993, our family had already moved back to Nashville, and Ruble was operating an HVAC contracting business, a video game business, a used car lot, and a bar and restaurant in South Nashville. He just boogied the job. He had heard that Tootsie's Forked Lounge building in downtown Nashville had been condemned by codes, and it had to be repaired or it was going to be closed. And on a fateful February night in 1993, he walked into the place and met with the then present owner, Robert Moore. Ruble and Robert walked through the building with Robert stating the price of each item and pieces of inventory and equipment, and Ruble writing it down. The total came to $8,650. Ruble writing a check. And then he called me, and I remember telling him, well, he called me and he said, I bought arm. And I said, I hope it's not that dump down to Broadway. Well, it was. But that truly was the beginning of the revitalization of Lower Broadway in Nashville. The building was in very bad condition. I had to have a new roof, plumbing, air conditioning, facade. We secured a $160,000 budget loan to get the building repaired and up to codes. That was a staggering amount for us in 1993. The Ryman Auditorium had closed in 1973 after Opryland opened, and that had resulted in a sharp drop in tourism, with most of the downtown bars and restaurants closing. By 1993, many buildings were vacant, and the ones that were occupied, usually it was with an adult entertainment joint. Where the stage on Broadway was Adult Grill, and second fiddle was Sugar Shack. Sugar Shack. Downtown Nashville was not a nice place to be. The 2 or 3 places that did have live music was usually with one guy sitting on a bar stool playing a guitar, but the music was coming from a cassette player. In September 1996, Ruble and another partner leased a building called at the corner of 5th and Broadway and named it Legends Corner. And about a year after that, they opened Legends Gifts. But Legends Corner opened March the 15th, 1997. And as you may have heard, Dirk Spitley earlier said Ruble was gagging one of his first gigs in Nashville. And he said he was the first one hired and the first one fired. Well, he and Ruble kind of banter back and forth about the circumstances of his being fired, and Ruble makes tapes every time he sees him. I did not fire you. I can love you. I think it worked out okay. In 2000, Ruble leased the 412 Broadway building that formerly had been Adult World. With a lot of help from our son Brad and me, the stage on Broadway opened for business Friday, March the 13th, 2001. At that time, the stage was truly the best stage on Broadway for the great musicians to play at. They were starting to migrate back to Nashville. Since the stage opened, it's hosted the likes of Toby Keith, Brett Michaels, Keith Urban, Tommy Emmanuel, Hype Jr., Garth Brooks, and many more. There have been movies and TV shows filmed at the stage, including the very popular show Nashville, and movies like Country Strong, starring Gwyneth Paltrow and Tim Brock. Ruble took over the property at 420 Broadway about a month after opening the stage. The property was remodeled and opened shortly thereafter, remained the second fiddle. Mariah Carey filmed parts of her movie Tennessee there, and Tim LaBelle has filmed some segments from Monday Night Football. In 2004, we took over another building across the street next door to Ernest Tubb Record Shop. We remodeled it and opened another club named Nashville Crossroads. That brought our total to 4 honky-tonks on Water Broadway in the same block. That property now belongs to our son Brad and his partners. It houses the bar Hank Williams Jr.'s Boogie Bar. Brad is also a partner now in the other clubs, as well as our grandson Brandon and our granddaughter Danielle. We're truly a mom and pop family operation. Ruble is very adamant in recognizing the fact that none of this would have been possible without the great musicians that come to Nashville, many from right here in his home state of Kentucky, to showcase their talents in venues that have good lighting, good stage, good sound equipment, and a pleasant environment for the customers. Inside the 3 clubs we now operate, there are up to 7 live performance opportunities, stages we like to call them. The clubs operate from 10 a.m. to 3 a.m. with sometimes up to 4 different performances per day per stage. That's potentially, on some days, over 25 different bands in one day. With a minimum of 4 to 5 members in each band, we could easily have 120 musicians playing for us on any given day. And if you look at all of Lower Broadway, we're just 3, 4 clubs doing that. There are so many clubs now that it's just staggering how many musicians are playing in Nashville on Lower Broadway. The philosophy of Ruble is to give the customers what they expected by creating a clean, safe, and enjoyable environment for not only the customers, but the musicians as well, and the staff. But first, you must be a leader, and that is exactly what Ruble has always done. Lead by example, and lead with integrity and passion for his work. He's always said, if you don't have integrity, nothing else matters. He knows he's been so fortunate to see his venues enjoyed by so many people. He says his greatest reward is when a visitor for the first time walks in to any one of them and says, wow, this is what I thought Nashville was going to be. Having these music venues was also an opportunity to help preserve the history of recorded sound. Ruble's passion for collecting music memorabilia and Thomas Edison artifacts is proudly displayed in his private museum. Ruble feels like he is receiving this award for all of the original honky-tonks on Broadway, and especially so for the musicians. That is why the honor of receiving this award is shared with the thousands of guys and gals who come to Nashville from small towns in Kentucky to metropolis all over the world. Yeah. Literally to turn their neon dreams into a reality. The success of Lower Broadway and Nashville is because of them. And that is why in 2025, we will donate a life-size bronze statue of a male and female musician to the city of Nashville to proudly display in a prominent location on Lower Broadway. Ruble has given them Ruble has given them a place to play, hone their skills, live their dreams. The music of Lower Broadway is not about the individual music venues, and it's certainly not about us. It's about the musicians. As Tim McGraw eloquently said in his song, Nashville without you would be just another river town. Nashville would not be Music City without them. And I'd like to bring out my husband, Ruble.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I have a lot of taking to do and a lot of good folks that certainly played a role with me. But first, I want to thank my wonderful wife of 51 years. I cannot imagine life without her. But I was very, very surprised and honored to learn that I've been selected to the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. I want to thank Jessica, Neil, the board of directors, all there for this event. I also want to congratulate the other 11 recipients of this award. It's an honor for me to just be in the same class with them. I almost fell out of place. I would like to thank the family, especially the sons, Brad and Danny, that are here, as well as my many friends from the Mayfield and Nashville area that are here today. Most of all, I just want to thank the thousands of musicians that perform in their clubs that Brenda was talking about there. As Brenda said, Nashville, that town truly would just be another river town like it was a few years ago. They're really the ones that put the music in Music City, and the musicians are. We did provide them a bit platforms to showcase their talents. That gave them a chance to hone the talents while playing with other skilled musicians. Here's the seeds we and a few others planted on Nashville Lower Broadway 25 or 30 years ago have now grown into a huge forest. And now everyone from Alan Jackson to Jelly Roll has got their own honky tonks. But I thank you all, very grateful, and I thank especially again to all the amazing musicians that migrate from all over the nation there. Without them, Nashville would be another river town. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You know, the White Yoakum always sang close up the honky tonks, though Ruble Sanderson keeps them open in Nashville. Unfortunately, one of our inductees was unable to attend tonight due to recent illness. And Charlie Sizemore, I had the honor to meet him last week, and from Punchin Creek, and he's a bluegrass singer-songwriter, and yes, definitely. The cool thing about him is that he got to work with Ralph Stanley when Keith Whitley left and, play with another feller called J.D. Crowe. And then he went on to do, the country thing too, as well. And I always say I'm raised on Whitley, Skaggs, Crowe, and Moreau in these parts. So let's give a round of applause for Mr. Charlie Sizemore.
You think I'd run off on you?
I did, actually did.
Well, folks actually said my dad's under the weather tonight, and I'm used to holding this thing, not leaning forwards. Hope you don't mind. I was thinking we could just text him if you want to get your phone out. 615. Y'all know he wouldn't appreciate that too terribly much. But yeah, my name's Patrick, and but when it comes to bluegrass, I'm Charlie's boy. And me and my dance band were both born in 1986, so that must have been a fun year for old Charlie. But we grew up, me and my sister, we grew up near Nashville, about 6 hours from family, because just like your Ruble was talking about, all those people chasing those neon dreams, my dad chased his songwriter dreams, and that's what brought him down to Nashville. And as a result, it made all my dad's musician friends, all his band members, more or less like my friends and family, because I saw them more often than my family most of the time. You may have seen my dad's dobro player, Matt Spain. May have also seen his longtime mandolin player, Danny Barnes. If you do, thank them for putting up with my dad. And man, just so you know, Dad used to brag all the time about your picking and how you picked it up so late in the game, like you're born with it, honestly. And Danny, when I was little, I told my dad, if Danny ever quits playing with you, you're not allowed to do shows anymore, because really there's no Charlie Sizemore band without Danny Barnes. Thanks, man. Thanks, I know, are the police going to come and grab Paul Martin yet? Is he still here? Oh, okay. Well, Paul lived down the road from us, north of Nashville, and as far as I know, gave my dad discount studio time. So, Paul, you were likely the reason that we were allowed to get name brand cheese. So, thank you. And Mr. Steve Guessman, I was up here with Exile earlier. Thank you for always keeping my dad in trouble. And as much as I try way too hard to make everybody laugh, I think you make him laugh more than anybody I've ever known. So keep up the good work. I didn't know until this afternoon that I'd be flying solo here, so I'm doing a lot of guest work here. But thank you. I imagine that my dad would dedicate this to his late banjo player, Mr. Wayne Fields. Wayne was a great man. Somebody said this. He taught me how to do a G-run. Mr. Wayne. Thank you. So just bear with my little boy brain here, because I'm flipping through the Rolodex I used to look at when I was little and be like, wow, Daddy knows Maurice Stewart. I just wish his old friends, Paul Kraft, Tom T. Hall, Jack Lynch, Jimmy Martin, Lung Pat, and then of course, Billy, his stepdad, second father, and in some ways a real father, Dr. Ralph Stanley, could be here to see him be inducted today. And all the Pushbound boys. So many others. If my dad was here, he wouldn't dare to give any of y'all advice. I know he certainly wouldn't give me any advice right now. He'd say, son, just get down and get it. So that's what I'm doing. Got a lot of those aphorisms directly from Ralph, one way or another. Even my dad didn't realize it. So I guess all I'll say is just lift up each other, be there for each other, because you really never know what somebody else is going through. We're all going through something. Right. And perhaps more importantly than that, when you're sitting in the back of a bread truck and you're running late to a show, don't use a pocket knife to cut your toenails. Thanks so much. Let's give it up for Jessica, by the way. She's dead.
I told you to stay calm, but come on. Thank you. Thank you so much. Our next inductee is no stranger. Again, we're celebrating the honky tonks in here, if you notice that. The king of the honky tonks, Mr. Terry. Sir. And I'll get to tell you all a personal story. When I got to call Shannon and his daughter, let her know that we were inducting him, I said, who do you want to be the one to actually do the honors of inducting him? And we had, several names. And I submitted an email, never got an email reply back. And I was like, let me try somebody else. And it was actually the first choice too. And I said, Shannon, what would it mean to you if I was able to get this person to induct Gary? And she wrote a paragraph about how much this person meant to her, because he was part of Gary's life throughout. Before we have Dillon to come out and perform, I want to have Shannon to come out here and speak a few words about her father, Mr. Gary Stewart.
I'm a little nervous, a little nervous. First, I want everybody to give themselves a big hand of applause, please, because if it wasn't for you guys, my dad wouldn't, music would not still be alive today, so. Here we are to honor the king of the honky-tonk, Gary Stewart. I am so proud my dad is finally getting recognized for his music. And we cannot forget about the woman behind him, my mother, Mary Lou. I've got her earrings on, I've got my dad's jacket on today. Let's go, let's go. We all know that he was way ahead of his time with his music. Sometimes he was a little too much for country, but a little too country for rock and roll. So that's where he finally found where he fit in, and that was Southern rock with the Allman Brothers Band, who was a big influence on him. Not just with my family, but all of us, we were all robbed also from an amazing artist, father, grandfather, and friend. There wasn't nothing that my dad wouldn't do for you if he truly considered you a friend. He was absolutely precious and a great sense of humor. His dear friend Tommy whispered in his ear that he would never let the world forget him, and he has stood by me to this day with that. Truly, every day we do all that we can do from our hometown of Fort Pierce, Florida. But Dad never forgot where he came from, and he knew where his roots were, and that's in Kentucky. He held Kentucky very close to his heart. I was blessed to come here after my dad passed, and everyone made me feel so at home. You guys are amazing, Kentucky is. I was blessed. I just wanted to thank everyone for that. My father loved nothing more than writing music, and he had a voice of an angel. No one will ever be able to duplicate that voice. On some of his songs, I always just close my eyes and I literally ride that voice. On some of his songs, oh, I just said that, sorry. He would be so proud to know that he finally made it into the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. I know we are proud because he always held Kentucky so close to his heart. There are such great songs like Empty Glass, Harlan County Highway, Cactus and a Rose, Are We Dreaming the Same Dream, and Little Junior. I could go on, there's just so many. My favorite is Harlan County Highway. I could go on and on. People always tell me that Dad has helped them through certain times in their lives. The fan base is amazing. We still celebrate his birthday in Fort Pierce, and people come from all over the place. Thousands of people. He always told me that he loved playing the honky-tonks because he loves seeing people dance to his music. He never thought of himself as a big star. He was very humble, and he did what he loved. I hate that we never got to have that last comeback for him that he was really working hard on to do. But we are here tonight to celebrate his music, and that's what counts, his voice and just everything that he was. All I can say is there's nothing like sitting at a red light and the car next to you blaring some Gary Stewart. 20-some years later, on your boat, someone passing you on the boat, jamming Gary Stewart. Walking to the bar, the first thing on the jukebox is an empty glass. It's still so alive, super blessed. Speaking of way ahead of his time, just for instance, here's just a chorus lyric line from Little Junior. My Uncle Joe Dan was a ladies' man. He taught me the what to do's and when's. When I'm through with you, you won't want to move. You will just lay on back and smile at what you just went through. I will close on that note. I love you, Mom and Dad, and here is to the king of honky tonk, Garris.
I had the privilege of working with Gary for a couple of years, and it became real evident to me when they put he and I together, it was like pouring gasoline on gasoline. But make no mistake, he was the king of the honky tonk.
It's closing time. I'm drunk again, but somehow I'll make it home. Cry myself to sleep. That's the way it is. Every night. Every night I'm in some bar, pouring whiskey on a heart that's on fire. Getting you is no easy thing. Each night for me always ends the same, with an empty glass. It's closing time. I'm drunk again, but somehow I'll make it home. Cry myself to sleep. Oh, that's the way it is. Every night for me. It's closing time. I'm drunk again, but somehow I make it home. Cry myself to sleep. Oh, that's the way it is. Every night. Yeah, that's the way it is. Every night for me. With an empty glass. Thank you all.
Y'all, I could hear Dean Dillon sing all day. Coming up next, a few years ago at Steve Wariner's induction into the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame, we got to talking about family and growing up whenever he lived in Russell Springs, and he started tearing up. Well, he got me back a few years ago when we were over at the Hall of Fame and I showed him Paul Yandel's case. And he told me Paul would be proud. And I'm glad. And I told him, I was like, you got me good that night, needless to say. But tonight, Steve is going to be honoring Mr. Jimmy Mattingly. And Jimmy is no stranger to when it comes to music. Whether he is fiddling or playing the guitar, he's been on the road with the greats such as the Grascals, as well as Dolly Parton, and for the last 30 plus years, Mr. Garth Brooks. In fact, whenever you go to the Hall of Fame, and we will be open until 11 o'clock tonight, you can see the fiddle that he played at Central Park with Garth Brooks, as well as many other of our inductees items. So feel free to go after the award show over to the Hall of Fame. So without further ado, let me introduce to you Mr. Steve Wariner and Mr. Jimmy Mattingly.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate that. Thanks for the kind words. How is everyone tonight? Yeah, man. I want to thank Jessica and everybody here at the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame for having me, number one, but also I want to congratulate all the inductees. What a great bunch going in this year. Would you give them a hand for me, all the inductees? I'm tickled to be here tonight to induct my buddy Jimmy Mattingly. And I wrote, it is a roast, right? Am I roasting him? Is that? Go for it. Danny McBride, I tell you, that just knocked me out seeing him. How about that, him at the inducted? That's my kind of humor. I love that guy. Anyway, I digress. You know, it'd be real easy for me to go through Jimmy Mattingly's bio and, you know, you could recite stats and accomplishments. He's done so much with so many legendary artists, quite an impressive list. Well, I'm one of the lucky people / artists who not only gets to play with Jimmy, but I know him very well on a personal level, and I've seen behind the curtain, so to speak. And that's the part of Jimmy that I really like to talk about, is the personal part of him. That part of Jimmy Mattingly, he's the shy, humble, selfless person that he is. And that might not be your impression if you've seen Jimmy play with Garth Brooks at Central Park or at a big stadium tour with Dolly or wherever he might be. But one thing I love about Jimmy too, he's Kentucky through and through. And hearing him tell of his upbringing always intrigued me. Although maybe a little bit later than me, but it reminded me so much of my own humble beginnings. The fact that we both had fathers that were Kentucky fiddlers coming from a large musical family and starting to play at a young age. Humble very well could be the optimum word for Jimmy Mattingly. In researching for this, I learned some things about him that I just didn't know. You know, and you wouldn't, would you? Because Jimmy don't really like to talk about himself. He would much rather talk about his wonderful wife, Ginger, or his kids, Ethan, Ansley, and Emmy, who, you know, which he does talk about quite a bit. He's so proud of all those kids. And if you notice, he's won so many fiddle competitions and championships. So many, in fact, they don't even listen to his bio stuff anymore. They just say, and he won a bunch of championships. But I think that's really cool. The Grand Masters he won in '81 is perhaps the most important to his story. It took him to the Grand Ole Opry to play alongside the king of country music, Mr. Roy Acuff. Last year he was inducted into the National Fiddle Hall of Fame, and earlier this year he received the Dr. Gary F. Harris Distinguished Fiddler Award with the Grand Masters. And you know, that's a big deal, y'all. That's really something. I'd heard of him and heard of his playing, you know, for years, but I think I met him when he was out touring with the Forster sisters. And we became friends immediately. It wasn't long after that Jimmy was actually out touring with us and playing some with me on the road. And my brother Terry, Jimmy, and I, we always had this Kentucky club going on, especially when it came to talking about the University of Kentucky basketball.
But we still have that club going on. We still talk about that a lot. And it speaks a lot about Jimmy's character and musicianship when you think about this. When you've been recording and touring with Garth Brooks for 30 years, and if you're not with Garth Brooks between the times when he's on hiatus or wherever, oh, you're recording and touring with Dolly Parton, okay. And even by the way, with Dolly, 36 years, how about that? Everybody says a lot. You gotta say more. I could go on and on talking about Jimmy telling roast stories, band stories, book-worthy material. We probably couldn't put some in the book, and I'll simply say this, all the years I've been around him, Jimmy has been nothing but a consummate professional, doing his job at the highest level while at the same time wanting to give you whatever you ask of him, and then doing just that. After all of Jimmy's accomplishments, I know tonight is very special to him and his family. Because, you know, folks, Jimmy Mattingly is coming home to Kentucky, to the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. I'll wait for you right there. Yeah, I like that. I'm sure his father is looking down here and is looking down. I know he's real proud. And I know his mother, Sue, up in Litchfield, Kentucky, is it over or up? But anyway, Litchfield is mighty proud of her boy tonight. And I'm sure Mr. Jesse Haycrack, who was Jimmy's 6th grade Grayson County orchestral director up there, is mighty proud too. In paraphrasing Jimmy, he said once, living modestly in a small trailer with my mom and dad and 4 kids has helped me appreciate more the blessings that God has given me. And Jimmy said, I do believe this all was his plan for me, and I can't be thankful enough. Well, I can tell you right now, we are all really thankful, Jimmy Mattingly, that you are going into the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Mr. Jimmy Mattingly.
This is the part that I never have to do. It's such a blessing to be a part of this group, and so many people that I grew up listening to and being inspired by are in this Hall of Fame. And I've had the honor of playing with a lot of them. Bluegrass music with the Osborne brothers, and man, it just doesn't get any better than that. When I was in the 6th grade, Steve was mentioning, my orchestra director was Jesse Haycraft, and he so happened to, he was a Renfro Valley entertainer. This Bird C. Haycraft was his name. And he was a key part of my life. And, you know, as you get down the road as far as I am, you start looking back and you realize that God opened lots of doors, and it was his plan. To none of those people in your life, it's just, that's probably the greatest thing about this business is the great people that you get to know and your friends, and it's such a huge friend group, you know. I remember seeing Exile when I was out with the Forrester sisters, and you know, it just, man, it blew my mind, and I was inspired by that, and Steve, you know, and then there comes the door open, and you know, I get to work with Steve, and I got to thank Steve a lot, because he really got the ball rolling for me really good. And after that, I started working with Dolly, and it's like I told Dolly, I said, you know, I just recently got to talk to her, and I said, you know, I got to thank you, because, you know, once I worked with you, I don't think anybody really doubted my ability to do the job. It was up to me to keep the job, but from working with her, they would give me the chance anyway. But I'd like to thank my wife. She's always at the house keeping everything nailed down there, and my kids. I got a lot of support from all my friends and family back in Litchfield. That is actually the official fiddle capital of Kentucky. And I think our mayor, Harold Dillon, might be here. And he's a fiddle player too, so they're all over the place over there. But anyway, I'd like to thank Jessica and all the people at the hall for all their hard work, and it's such an honor. And you know, like I said, I thank God for all of it because it was His plan, and it's a blessing. I'd like to thank Garth, Tricia, Dolly, all. You know, it's just amazing to get to work with those kind of people and watch them be the pros they are. And all I have to do is try to play this fiddle and do that part. But anyway, I'd like to thank y'all, and I'm so honored. Thanks.
Y'all know the difference between a violin and fiddle. Violin's got strings, fiddle's got strings. Our next two awards are something that's very special and dear to my heart. When I was able to announce that I became a Kentucky Music Hall of Fame Executive Director 2.5 years ago, the very first person that contacted me was Mr. Karl Shannon. The first thing that came out of his mouth is, "You're gonna live your dream." And let me tell you all, I am truly blessed and I am living my dream each and every day. We also established the Karl Shannon Legacy Award, and I'm gonna have David Schmidt, Karl's son, to come out, as well as Karl's family to come out here to do a special presentation.
Hello, everyone. How are you? Quite good? Great. So, Jessica contacted me a couple years ago to start this award in my dad's honor. And this year, I couldn't help but pick somebody that not only my father loves, but means a lot to me, because not a lot of people know this. Everybody knows Deidre from the radio. She was my high school English teacher. So I've known Deidre, and I knew Deidre before my dad did. So when we talked about it this year, Deidre was the first and only name that came up. So it's my privilege and honors that Deidre is able to receive this award.
Thank y'all so much. The Karl Shannon Legacy Award means so much to me, just because Karl made such a difference in my life, in my opportunity to do some radio and learn how to do it right by one of the biggest names in radio. Karl made such a difference in his communities wherever he lived, but definitely in Kentucky and with Kentucky music. He talked to me at length about how to talk to artists and what they didn't want to hear from you, what they do want to hear from you, and how to fight for the music to be what everyone really wants to hear. Not just play what you're told to play all the time. Sometimes you play the things that everyone really wants to hear, and you support those artists. And Karl was so wonderful in his communities. He made such a difference and impact for over a decade. He hosted the largest one-day car show to support St. Jude Children's Hospital. Made a huge difference with donations of over $100,000 to St. Jude's. Also, in 2015, he hosted another local car show benefiting UK Children's Hospital and made $9,000 in one day with a car show for the hospital and for the children. That's the kind of a man that Karl Shannon was. He also had a Veterans Appreciation Picnic every year at Thomas Hood Veterans Center in Wilmore, and that money went right back to the veterans and their families. So Karl talked at length with all of us at different times about how to make a difference, and he led by example. He showed us how to do that. So I've gotten to be plugged into a lot of different organizations because of Karl. Because of Karl, we hosted things together in downtown Lexington. Whether we were on the same station working for the same company or not, it didn't matter, because Karl knew we all needed to be together to support our community, support our veterans, support our children, support great causes in our community. And that's the leadership that Karl Shannon taught all of us. And it's just been a blessing, and I'm honored to receive this award. I'm very blessed to have a charmed life and to have some opportunities to make a difference. And I know we all have, as it's been said up here tonight, we all have our things, we all have our struggles, that we all have an opportunity to help someone else. And it's a great chance to do that, and I certainly appreciate the chance to. I thank you to Karl's beautiful wife, Marie, who is here, and also to David, who I've known since he was in high school, and the great Jessica Blankenship, who's hosting us up here tonight. She and David came and surprised me at the radio station. It was one of the best days I've gotten to have. So thank you all so much. Thank you to the great artists who have been entertaining us tonight, and congratulations to everyone winning awards. It's great.
So you all thought you were done with me, but you're not. So my father is being inducted into the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. And first and foremost, I want to extend a heartfelt thank you to the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame for this incredible honor. My father would have been extremely proud to be recognized alongside such an esteemed company. Also want to thank his colleagues in the radio and the music industry, his friends, and most importantly, his family, especially my mother, Mary, who is stuck with my dad through all the highs and the lows. Dad would be extremely proud and gracious to accept this award. He would have loved to be here with all of you all celebrating this moment. His passion for music and his dedication to his work were unparalleled. I know he would have been deeply moved by this recognition. This honor is for Karl Shannon. My dad was Karl Schmidt. Karl Shannon was very different than Karl Schmidt. Karl Schmidt was the dad that would beat you in the driveway with basketball for 3-pointers and free throws. Karl Shannon was the guy that when he lost a charity game the year before, went out and recruited the Vanderbilt graduating senior class and absolutely destroyed WKEF in Nashville by about 60 to 70 points. So there were all these, radio DJs. You know what they look like? They don't look like Deidre. Running down the court, wheezing, and here's a 6'7", 6'11" guy going pro, throwing alley-oops to each other. KDF didn't know what hit him. He was relentless in his pursuit of excellence, always trying to be the best and bring out the best in those around him. His colleagues knew him as a dedicated professional who never backed down from a challenge, and he always aimed to elevate the standards of the industry. Being Karl's son afforded me many, many memories. I could stand up here and talk for hours about those memories. Don't worry, I'm not my dad. Got me for 3 to 5 minutes. The memory that I always go back to when I talk about my childhood, because man, there's a lot. And the reason I go back to this is absolutely absurd. The memory I always go back to was me, obviously. I was there. My father, some contest winners. This was in Nashville. And Ronnie Millsap at Opryland. Now, Ronnie was so gracious and kind throughout the day. We were just going around, hanging out with Ronnie Millsap, walking around Opryland, which was awesome. But Ronnie wanted to do one thing more than anybody else in the world at that time. Ronnie Millsap wanted to drive a bumper car. I'm not sure if anyone else here has ridden bumper cars with Ronnie Millsap. But that was one of the funnest moments of my entire life. And as a 13 to 14-year-old guy, when you see somebody just spinning in circles, hit me, you some bitches. You nailed it. You just hit it. And I did head on, and with that baritone, however, smooth voice, he just started laughing. It was a great memory. So, as Deidre said, people always talk about my dad for his charity work, with efforts focused mainly on children and veterans. But what he would also assist people with was helping them with their career. Whether that was calling a record label executive to come to Lexington to hear someone play in a bar, or helping a drummer get a tryout for the Grand Ole Opry House Band. Dad would always try to help someone wherever he could. So I'll sum this up with my father would just have this simple statement: leave people better than when you found them. His legacy is a testament to the power of kindness, generosity, and unwavering support. I'm going to honor his memory by carrying forward those values in my own life. I hope we all can. Thank you. Have a great evening.
I've been out there rounding up my next person here. All right, folks. Next up, we're gonna talk about the McLain family band, and I'm gonna bring out the whites. But the McLain family band is from Hindman, Kentucky. They're a bluegrass band with over 55 years in the business, and they have the McLain family band acceptance. So with that being said, we're gonna bring out the whites.
If they hear nothing back there, we're excited.
An honor to be here. Hello, Kentucky.
We're here to honor our friends, the McLain family band, who we've known a really long time, like the mid to late 60s.
Our families were friends. We probably met them at the Bill Monroe's Bean Blossom Bluegrass Festival. We were just a little family band, and they were a family band, and they made a big impression on us right away. The first time I remember hearing them play was probably the following year, in 1969, at Hugo, Oklahoma. And what struck me about the McLain family band was that, well, first of all, they were amazing musicians and singers, but they were not like anybody else on the bluegrass music circuit. They were such individuals, and it was obvious that they worked at it, that they did songs that were, they did the classic bluegrass songs like Bill Monroe and Flatt and Scruggs did, but they also incorporated their own songs and songs from all kinds of genres of music. And it was, they were an amazing hit at that festival.
Oh, yes, they were. And, you know, we had a lot in common with them because our dads were a lot alike. And our moms, they taught us a love for the music and to treat it with respect, and a love for, treat your music with respect. A love for each other. We love being together. We love playing together. And we saw that in them right away. I can tell you, I never saw another band at a bluegrass festival play and look you in the eye. I mean, bluegrass, look and smile. It was serious music in those days. We wanted to be taken seriously. But our dad had the entertainer in him, and so did Mr. McLain. He wanted them to put on a show and make the people happy, and I never saw a crowd that wasn't happy when they got through playing.
And they've done before to spread bluegrass and Appalachian music all over the world than just about anybody we know. They were the first to do international tours, first bluegrass band to do international tours. And that all came about because Alice wanted to travel the world, and she wrote letters to people in Washington, D.C., and they sent them on these tours, and they went all over the world. They went to countries that had never even probably heard of the United States sometimes.
Or it's true, so anything. Over 60 countries, y'all. You know anyone else that's got that? I don't. And you could come over, a few years later, we finally got to do an overseas tour, and we saw them and asked Mr. McLain, what's good advice? And what did he say, Sharon?
He said, don't carry more than you can run with. Because you're gonna be in a tight schedule everywhere you go, and you may not have all the help you need carrying your stuff. So, no, we learned so much from them, and we love these people like family. We were part of for 10 years in a row, they did a festival here in Kentucky, on the Big Hill Farm right outside of Berea, that featured family band music. And we made some of the best friends and some of the best memories on that Big Hill Farm. I'll tell you, we enjoyed that festival of all the places that we played. We wouldn't miss it. If they hadn't booked us every year, we were coming anyway, so.
They sang at our weddings, we sang at their weddings. We're talking close-knit people that ate together, and we might go all year and not see them because we're working one way, they're working the other. But when we got back together, it was like no time has passed. And it's been that way again today. And together with them, sharing the meal and seeing their exhibit. We're just so proud of the ambassadors they are. their grandma taught, their dad taught music, Alice taught music, Raymond and Ruth. Alice teaches.
That is something that they are serious about, is how we're able into the next generations, raising up young people to follow in the footsteps.
So we're just so thankful that the Lord let us meet them all those years ago and let us be good friends. And we're really proud to help induct them into the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame.
So we asking for the McLain family band.
It's such a great honor to be inducted by Sharon and Cheryl White, 40-year members of the Ransdell Opry. That was quite a fanfare. 40-year members of the Ransdell Opry, Sharon and Cheryl White, and lifelong friends. You know, it's wonderful to have such terrific. It's wonderful to have people working so diligently with the sound system, because I tell you what, when you have one group after the next, each coming out doing one number, you have to do a complete setup for that group, just as you would if they were doing a whole set. So we really appreciate these folks. Sharon and Cheryl were talking about our long relationship. We have been friends since before we were old enough to be able to drive cars legally. But I'm so proud of my family. Each member of the band brings something unique and powerful to the McLain family band, and has since 1968, when we started our first television program in Hazard, Kentucky. At that time it was WKYH television, now it's WYMT. There are so many people that are involved in a career in music. Let me tell you who everybody is. Okay, there's my brother Michael, Daxton Lewis, Jennifer McLain, my sister-in-law, Al White, my brother-in-law, and Nancy Ann, our sister, and my sisters, Alice and Ruth. And each one of them has brought something huge to the group and has stepped up when it was necessary. We were very proud to be able to represent our country and our music and our region in many places around the world, many times under the auspices of our United States Department of State, and it was a huge honor to do that, as the Whites also have done that too. But I was going to say, there's so many people that are involved in a career in music. It's not just us, it's these guys that are running the sound system. It's television producers, it's people that do marketing and graphic design and public relations, and it's our wives and husbands and our loved ones. It's everyone that does this together, and they're very important. One of the things that Alice and Ruth and Nancy, the five of us kids, did that was brilliant is we made a very wise choice in parents. And our father and mother did so many things. Daddy was visionary. He really was able to do so many things and willing to do so many things, worked so hard. Who would think that if somebody asked you, oh, would you please develop and teach a course in bluegrass music and a college course in Appalachian music at Berea College in 1971? He took that challenge and he did it very well. Who would think that they could take their family band and figure out how you could play with symphony orchestras as a bluegrass band and tour that and do it with over 100 symphony orchestras over many years and do major works? Who would think that you could start a festival of family bands and have people from, I couldn't begin to tell you how tens of many of musicians and audience came from all over the world. People, some people in this audience tonight. We really want to thank Jessica Blankenship, the Board of Trustees. We want to thank everyone at the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. We want to thank our families, and we want to sing something for you that Daddy and I wrote together. Right now, our society seems divided, very divided, as much as any time in my lifetime. And Daddy firmly believed that music could bring people together.
Amen.
He wrote a song called Music's Got the Power for Turning Things Around. And he believed that, and he trusted it. And I do too, and we do. So we were on one trip far from home, far from Kentucky. And we were homesick. We were young. And Daddy was trying to make us feel better, and he said, you know, that breeze that's blowing across your face right now, one time that same breeze blew in Kentucky. And it made us feel at home, because after all, we all share the same wind. Daddy wrote these words, and I wrote the tune. It's called Kentucky Wind. And thank you all so very much. I'll quote. I'll quote one of my granddaughters. I'm just overflowing with gratitude. Yeah.
Sings an old song in Kentucky, half remembered from some other time and place. Brings back now and then an old-time feeling, left over from its never-ending Sing to me, Kentucky wind, sing to me.
tell you what, y'all, that is a full circle moment for me because back 25 years ago as a Berea College student, Al White actually taught me about Appalachian music, and be able to induct him and the family into the Hall of Fame touches the heart. Next up, you all have seen him grace this stage with many, many folks, including Exile, Oak Ridge Boys, Bop Mow Wow. Told you I was gonna sing up here. And most recently with Rockland Road. And in fact, Paul Martin has also been working on a project using George Jones's vocals. And let me tell you, I got to hear a sneak peek of it, and it is amazing. But I'll tell you what, if there's one person that could actually talk about his father, Paul Martin, is his son, March. Without any further ado, here's March.
As I was walking out here, my dad goes, "Don't roast me too hard, son." Before I get started, how about a hand for the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame? Jessica and Neil worked so tirelessly to preserve the history, and I think this place is a living testament to the fact that Kentucky produces some of the finest musicians and artists this world has to offer. Amen. So, my name is March Martin, and I play with the band Rockland Road. But today, I'm actually back here playing with the house band next to my dad, Paul Martin. And for those of you who've been coming to ceremonies for a while, you know that my dad's been the band leader for the Hall of Fame year since the very beginning. But before that, my dad hails from Winchester, Kentucky. Yeah, that's right. That's the home of Ale8. Which, too, I think my dad single-handedly keeps in business down in Nashville because we have no fewer than 3 flats of Ale8 at the house at any given time. And the studio, too, all the time. But being from Winchester, that's where my dad got his start. From a young age, he started out singing and playing with his mom and dad, Bill and Texas Martin. And my grandfather had a recording studio, so my dad was in the studio as soon as he could walk and play an instrument, which was pretty early. And from there, that started him on a long musical journey where he was playing and singing in bands locally around Kentucky. Then he ended up moving on to playing with national acts. He was the lead singer of Exile as well as their lead guitar player for many years, as well as playing with Billy Joe Royal, Kathy Mattea, and then as she said, the Oak Ridge Boys, Marty Stewart, excuse you. I hope I can still have kids after that. Anyway, though, all that to say, the list goes on and on. My dad's played with all sorts of people through the years. And when I came along, I realized pretty quickly that my dad had set the standard pretty darn high for me to fill in as I started my journey becoming an artist. And, you know, it was pretty clear to me early on that everybody loved and respected my dad, and that if I was just half the musician, half the man, half the husband, and half the father that he is, I think I'd be doing just all right. And I don't think any amount of thanks would be adequate for him. But given this opportunity, I think I'm gonna try. So, where are you, Dad? You back there? You hiding? Yeah. All right, so on behalf of me, my mom, my siblings, my grandparents on both sides, and this whole state of Kentucky, it's my honor to introduce and induct my father, Paul Martin, as the newest member of the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame.
I've been sitting around thinking all day, what am I going to say? And, you know, lots of things have crossed my mind today. But one thing I like to say is there are a lot of people in here tonight, Winchester folks, family, friends, and there's a lot of musicians in here that I've played with, and you know who you are. just to let you know, every time I played with you, I was quite in awe of you and pretty intimidated, and still get that way. But one thing I thought about was probably the thing that's missing tonight is sure wish my mom and dad were here to be a part of this. I know they're aware, but they're not here with us, you know, in body. But a few years ago, when I was playing with Exile, my mother passed with cancer at the age of 50. And when about a month before she died, we were talking on the phone, and I knew things weren't looking good. And she said, "Son, don't worry. I'm going to stick around and watch you sing on your first single." And that didn't happen. She passed in June of '89, and Keep It in the Middle of the Road came out in November. So kind of changed my trajectory a little bit, but I still love music. And one of the things, I had no idea that I'd marry Jamie. I had no idea I'd have 4 kids. Her dad used to say, "Don't you guys have a TV or something?" But in all honesty, I mean, so many people in this room, Doug Breeding, I know you're here. Had it not been for Doug Breeding, I would have never gotten the opportunity to play with Exile. And that really kind of charted the course to where I'm at today. And Doug, thank you for that. You know I love you. And also, I got to thinking about the Exile guys. The guys there now and my brothers. I love all you guys, you know it. And the guys that, like Mac Davenport, Mike, Howard, all the guys that, you know, Billy Lutz. I said, you know, do you realize you guys were in high school in 1963? I was barely a year old. You made the decision that seemed pretty insignificant to form this group called Exile. And had you not done that, well, I would have never been a part of the band, and I would have never met Jamie. I wouldn't have my 4 kids. So that's kind of how I look at all this today. And I'm very honored and very humbled, believe me, to be amongst all the people in this Hall of Fame. There's a lot of great names. Some I've gotten to play with, and Sturgill, I'm so excited for you. If you're still, I'm so excited for Sturgill because my mom is from Jackson, Kentucky, and Sturgill's a Jackson boy, so we're real excited for all our Kentucky boys that are out there, Tyler Childers and Chris Stable, and all those guys are just, I mean, Kentucky's on the map, folks, right now. You know. So I'll tell you what, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna go over here and put my guitar on. We'll play that first single, a little of it, we'll do a little abbreviated version, and then we'll do a little something special to wrap up, and then we'll keep moving this on. Hang on just a... I did an album a few years ago when I was with Marty Stewart. He had us all these solo records. Mine was called Kentucky Jukebox. And as we were wrapping this up, we were trying to come up with a song, what I should do, and I said, this might be the best song to end the whole project with.
Oh, the sun shines bright on my old Kentucky home. 'Tis summer, the people are gay. The corn tops ripe and the meadows in the bloom, while the birds make music all the day. The young folks roll on the little cabin floor, all merry, all happy and bright. Hard times coming knocking at the door, then my old Kentucky home, good night. We no more, my lady, oh, we no more today. We will sing one song for my old Kentucky home, for my old Kentucky home, far away.
Okay, our next inductee is Mr. Rodney Griffen. You know Rodney, you know he's a really, really good guy. I told you I run a farm store. Rodney shops with me. That tells you what a small world this is. But here to introduce Rodney would be Mr. Gerald Wolf. Gerald, you here?
Thank you so much. Rodney and I travel together. Actually, I've been blessed to travel with Rodney for 31 years. So I could stand here tonight and tell you about all the 500 plus songs he has written, and I could tell you about the more than 20 number one songs. But back in March of this year, I was scrolling through Facebook, and I read a post that Rodney's dad had put on his Facebook page. And it just moved me so that I copied it and checked it. And tonight, all these months later, I'm gonna read it to you. All he had was a little toy, a noteless, toneless, tuneless plastic guitar with plastic strings. He was about 4 years old, and his little sister, Amy, was only 2. They sang hallelujah, 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 praise ye the Lord, with Rodney strumming on that little guitar as if he had 1,000 people in attendance. And there is a recording of it. He grew up in the best place on God's green earth, the church. And he has always sang, and he's always sung with the church. He also sang while in elementary school. Once in the 5th grade, his school had a talent show, and he sang "What a Difference You've Made in My Life" by Ronnie Millsap. And I remember when he finished, the little 5th grade girl screamed. I thought that was fun and sweet at the same time. As a 7th grader, he led the church youth choir, and he had a friend who would do duets with him. And I went into high school where he found himself in the chamber singers choir, an advanced music group. And in that choir were 3 other boys, and all 4 of these guys were bass singers. So someone suggested a form quartet of 4 bass singers. They did, and they began singing as the Fellowship Quartet and Fellowship Christian Athletes Group at school and in area churches. Their pianist was a very talented local church musician named Greta Jones. She was a major source of support and encouragement for Rodney. Later, someone suggested they enter the Kentucky State Fair gospel music competition, and they won it. Rodney's interest and passion for writing and singing gospel music continued to drive him forward. And he literally believed scripture that said, "Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it shall be opened to you." Matthew 7:7. His passion and serve the Lord through music continued to be steadfast, and God has blessed him. He's blessed to sing a few recent groups for a few short years. Then the Lord continued to honor his passion and his faithfulness by allowing him to sing with Ed O'Neill, the Dixie Melody Boys Quartet. It's believed by many, including this writer, that the Lord began anointing his songwriting during that time because all the honor, scripture, and Christ-centered lyrics. These hymn true sets of music have resulted in less multitudes of people. He's just gained numerous honors and awards, including being named Gospel Music's favorite songwriter for an unprecedented 25 years. For the past 34 years, he has had the honor of singing with the gospel trio, Great Griffen, the most honored and awarded group in the history of gospel music. Greater Vision is a gospel music home. And as a result of his love for the Savior, people in the church and the music, and with the love and help of many who believed in him, Rodney was inducted into the Southern Gospel Music Hall of Fame in 2022. And tonight, he will be inducted into the Kentucky Music Hall of Fame. It all started with a little toy, noteless, tuneless, toneless plastic guitar. Rodney, your mom and dad, Regina, Reagan, Riley, Sam, Jamie, Isla, and your entire family, as well as John, Chris, and I, couldn't be more proud of you. Ladies and gentlemen, Rodney Griffen.
Well, I know most of you are looking up here and saying, who is that? Thank you so much for including gospel music in your celebration and honor tonight.
anyone who has been on this platform, if we're honest, we could say that there's really nothing we can take credit for by ourselves. I think about Brenda Jones, piano player, for the first quartet in A. When you start out in music, you start out at the bottom. And my first full-time group, it seemed like every month I'd get a check in the mail, Brenda Jones, just to help out. You never forget that when you touch somebody. I think about my wife. It'll be 30 years in December, so darling, if I forget to tell you, happy anniversary. She's from right here in Mount Vernon, and she's just such a wonderful lady. And there was Regina Griffen, and then our two daughters are here, Reagan and Riley, now in their 20s with families of their own. And I've been on the road for 34 years and sometimes gone 200 days a year. So they grew up a lot of times without a daddy at the soccer game. And they knew that a gospel singer's callings is strong and it's from above. And when the doors open, we have to go share Jesus with people. So they've never held it against me that I couldn't be there for everything. And Reagan and Ida, thank you so much. My mom and dad are here. They're from right over in Eubank, Kentucky. Precious folks, and they've been so supportive all these years. These guys, Gerald, I've traveled with him all these years for Greater Vision. Chris Solomon, John Epley. When I get to travel, it's spent between such talented people every night. It makes me so grateful and thankful to be a part of the family of music in the state of Kentucky, especially. I love you and I thank you so much. They'd asked us to sing a song, and about 20 years ago, I wanted to write a song that would encourage someone who doesn't feel like maybe you've done very many special things for the Lord. It's not always the big-time preachers or singers. Those will not be the ones, I believe, rewarded so much in heaven. It'll be the Brenda Joneses who sent a check to a young gospel singer to help me make it through. It'll be the ladies changing the diaper in the church nursery. It'll be the ones singing down at the rest home to the people who don't remember their name, but they remember the words to Amazing Grace. So I wrote a song just for you. That's you tonight. So it's called Faces, and would you welcome the guys of Greater Vision Albums and sing Faces?
I dreamed my life was done, and I stood before God's Son. It was time to see what my reward would be. With love he reviewed my life, was done for Christ, for that was what would last eternally. See, I if they would just believe. Oh, but seldom did harvest come. So few did I see one, until the Lord said, turn around and see. Then he showed me the faces of the ones who come because of me. So many faces that my life had led to Calvary. All those years I thought nobody saw, as I labored in lowly places. That's when Jesus smiled and showed me all the faces. He said, though you did not see the yield, you were faithful to plow the field. At other times, you helped me plant the seed. No matter how small the task, you did just as I asked. And thanks to you, these souls have been set free. Then he showed me the faces of the ones who come cause of me. So many faces that my life had led to Calvary. All those years I thought nobody saw, as I labored in lowly places. That's when Jesus smiled and showed me all the faces. And for those years you thought nobody saw, as you labored in lowly places, one day he'll smile and show you all the faces. The faces. You'll see their faces.
There is one thing about Kentucky music, it can give us some devotion and blessings. Let's give another round of applause for Rodney. I was just talking to the next young man backstage. Last time we actually had a conversation was 10 years ago. We were in a little place called Zanzibar in Louisville, Kentucky, and there was not even 20 of us, included the wait staff that was there. And he ended up, his dad was there as well, and we got to talking. And then I got to talk to Sturgill, and we were talking about people we knew because I lived in Versailles. Everybody knows everybody in Versailles. I didn't know them also, but everybody knew everybody in Versailles. And we got to talking. And he said, you know, honestly, I've already told my family, if this music thing doesn't work out, I'm going to try another career. 3 weeks to that day of that conversation, there's a certain album came out, Metamodern Sounds of Country Music. Next thing I know, Sturgill was on late night TV, radio, everything. But most of all, I will say he is a good father, he is a good friend, he's a good musician, and a good Kentuckian. And you'll see his display over at the Hall of Fame as well. And you'll see the shirt that he wore on stage at the Ryman Auditorium, raising money for others. You'll also see the guitar that he smashed on Saturday Night Live that he actually built is there as well. But before I bring him out, afterwards, stay put. Many thanks to every one of our inductees as well as special guests. We have got 2 guitars that will be going up for auction tonight live. Y'all better dig in those pockets. 100% of the funds is going back to Kentucky for our musicians and part of the Sanderson Music Fund as well. But without further ado, I'm going to bring out Danny McBride, who's been in.
Kentucky, good. Somehow I've never been to Kentucky before. It's my very first time. Thank you for being so welcoming. I met so many nice people tonight, one of which bought me a shot with fruit in it. So if this speech doesn't make sense, I'm blaming it on that guy. Okay, sorry about that. Most of you look like you're still awake, so that's good. We're in a good spot here. Hopefully I won't be the one who puts you in bed. Tonight we're here to celebrate an artist who has redefined what it means to be a musician. Not just in Kentucky, not just in country music, but across the board. Sturgill Simpson isn't just talented, he's one of a kind. Now the music industry has a habit of slapping a label on artists and shoving them into neat little boxes. But Sturgill didn't play that game. He didn't just step outside the box, he threw gas on it. He lit it on fire, he smoked pork on it, and then he left the box behind. And he made his own role. Sturgill saw the rules and he said, yep, that's not for me. When people expected him to stay in the traditional lane, Sturgill decided to drop an anime soundtrack. So that's what he does. Whether it was the mind-bending fusion of honky-tonk and psychedelia on metamodern sounds, or the soulful, introspective journey of a sailor's guide to Earth, or the raw, back-to-basics brilliance of cutting grass, every project Sturgill delivered wasn't just an album, it was a statement. A statement that genre doesn't matter when the music is honest. For Sturgill, it's not about following a formula, it's about truth. It's about digging deep, telling stories, and finding the sounds that make people feel something real. Sturgill took the old, he took the new, and everything in between, and he made something that's timeless. He's not here for fame or applause. He's here to make music that matters, and that's exactly what he's done. Sturgill reminds us that real artists don't chase trends. They chase something much, much bigger. They chase meaning, they chase connection, and they chase freedom. And in doing so, they give the rest of us permission to live just a little bit more boldly. So tonight, we're not just welcoming Sturgill into the Kentucky Hall of Fame, we're honoring a legacy that's still unfolding. He's an artist who has proven that the only limits in life are the ones we let other people place on us. And I think I speak for everyone here when I say that the music world is better, braver, and more beautiful because Sturgill Simpson dared to stay true to himself. Sturgill, this isn't just a night to look back on everything you've done, it's a night to look ahead at everything still to come. Because with you, we know the story is far from over. You're the kind of artist who keeps us guessing, keeps us inspired, and keeps us believing that music can still surprise us. In a world that likes to play it safe, we need artists like you to remind us the magic happens when you risk everything and stay true to your gut. So here's to you, brother. Here's to the road you've taken, the music you've made, and the fire that you have lit inside of all of us. It's my honor to be here and to induct you into the Kentucky Hall of Fame.
All right. Say the Headhunters and Sizemore, Hall. Man, it's crazy. I've been very, very fortunate in the last 13, 14 years. A lot of really cool stuff has happened on my journey or my ride, whatever you want to call it. But I've been fortunate enough to meet, and not only meet, but become friends with a lot of my heroes. Some of them, most of them are gone now, sadly, but this is definitely the most humbling and, you know, I don't know how to say this. A lot of moments I found that as they were happening, I wasn't able to process until days or months or sometimes years later. And this one is not lost on me right now. I saw the display case the other day and looked to my right, and there's Keith Whitley and you know, Bill Monroe and other people. So this is heavy dope, you know. I mean, you know, even Danny. I remember like 10 years ago, before the record Jessica was talking about came out, you know, I only made that record because I thought I'd never get to make another one. I was an unemployed hothead songwriter working at a grocery store. About 6 or 7 months before that, my wife had said, "Hey, I'm pregnant." So I thought, all right. I left a great job with the railroad that paid me a good salary to be an unemployed pothead songwriter. I must have been out of my mind. So now I got a baby coming. This is probably the last chance I'll get to do this. So when we went in the studio, Miles and a couple other brothers, you know, we didn't go in to make a record. We had a few days off. We thought, let's just kill some time. And all I thought we were doing was making some songs. And those songs we recorded changed my life. And so it's just been a head down endeavor ever since. And this is pretty special. I was a young kid. When they asked me what I wanted to put in the display case, the first thing that came to mind were my grandfather Dude's old Gibson J50, which is the guitar I learned to play on, and then my other grandfather I wore his mandolin, because the two of them, outside of all the artists that I've listened to in my life, were probably the most impactful two human beings on my music career. My grandfather Dude listened religiously to Merle Haggard, Willie Nelson, Marty Robbins. We'd watch Hee-Haw on the couch. He'd tell me which guys were holding the guitar as a prop, which ones could actually play. You know, Roy Clark, guys like that. My grandfather Ora was a devout bluegrass devotee. He spent his entire widower retiree years in a motorhome going to bluegrass festivals. I remember when I was not much older than my oldest son, I was probably 3rd or 4th grade, he was visiting us at home one day, and he came in my room and he had these cassette tapes. He had this giant brown box of field recordings he made of all these bluegrass festivals. He lived and breathed it, and he was playing like old Stanley Brothers and Hot Rise, and you know, I was too young, my palate wasn't ready to absorb it. And he looked at me and he said, you know, one day, it's gonna get in you, and it ain't ever gonna get out. And I had an older cousin Mike. You know, my dad and I would go every Christmas up to his sister's house, my Uncle Wayne. And Mike had one of those old tower stereos with his headphones. And I remember I was in like 5th grade. He said, "What do you listen to?" And I don't know, it was probably something I'd be embarrassed to tell you right now. And he had this stack of CDs that CDs had been out a year or two, and it was like Zeppelin, Cream, and Hendrix, and Pink Floyd. And he just set me down on the floor and put the headphones on me and said, "I'll be back in 3 days." And then my father, career state policeman. I was a sensitive, artistic kid. He probably didn't know what to do with it, but he always supported and pushed it, you know. And he took me in to see Van Halen and Led Zeppelin when I was in like 4th and 5th grade, and that was it. My life was ruined. You know? But I never had the ambition, you know. I didn't think it was something I wanted. I thought it was a hobby. So I went to the Navy, I worked at the railroad, and then I hit vapor lock with that job about 14 years ago, and I was just like, the Martin came out of the closet, started writing, started singing, started recording, and my wife was like, hey man, you don't suck at this. So we sold everything and packed up the Bronco and the dog and moved to Nashville. And, yeah, about 14 years ago. And I just kept my head down, stuck to the plan, and I don't know what I'm doing. But it got me here, and I'm grateful. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. This means everything.
What a night so far, but don't run off. We still have more. But first off, I'd like to thank all of you for coming tonight. This is one of the ways that we fund the Hall of Fame and fund the things we have coming forward. So I want to thank you for that. Get ready to talk tomorrow.